I'm gonna tell you a story. First thing you gotta understand is it doesn't work the way you think it does. You can call me Oracle because I'm the one who's talking to you. Welcome to the call. So, for anyone who's ever seen High-Rise Invasion, I'll come back to these two. Actually, you know what? I'll come back to that point because I have some other cool stuff before that. Here's more. Planet Skates Rosiveka. 4 images, 4 servitors. Specifically, one's related to the elemental spirits, specifically of like metals, gold, silver, that sort of thing. That is for me channeling moon aspects. So here we have a 1, 8, 2, 2, 10, and single letter B, they, U. Then we got a single of the O of A, 1 gold, 1 mercury, a single iron, and a copper B. And then we got a single silver and an iron, 7, 3, the B of 1, a 2, a 2, and 4, 0, 7, 3. The way of the wild of the east, the south of the ways in between, and the ways of the west, the way and that be ways are the fates three, the way come together in the way of the we. That be the way of my alchemy, put together symbols of the ways of the we. Not even joking. Those came together from literal actual alchemy symbols, which are more commonly known as, honestly, just like the astrological for the planets, correlated by their atomic weight in terms of numbers that had specific significance to me. That I just explained. Well, there's another one. That's a combination of the sun and some other stuff. So basically, like, I more or less just, like, I think I more or less made servers by doing this. Made some pretty jazz and tulpa in there, as I can tell, that are combination elemental spirits of metals done in specific proportions. Which, in my opinion, pretty baller. There's another iteration of Zonia Sapta Trini 73. Oh, fun fact about Gematria. So, like, 214, like, 182, 214, and 73 are numbers that, like, I was, more or less gifted, from the spirits by, a young former fiance. I've been engaged twice. Young former fiance of mine, who's a Lakota woman, whose name I'm not going to get into, for, you know, for privacy, because people deserve their privacy. But my point is, she gave me those numbers, and like, I thought about them a long time. It's like, I came to a lot of conclusions about them, and eventually I applied them to the periodic table, and that's where I came up with that. But that's something that I didn't actually come to until like actually 2021. On a fun note. So in terms of like different ways you can meditate, Now, here's the thing. Like, people often assume meditation is all about dhyana meditation, sitting in one place and just like repeating your mantra and basically doing nothing else. But the thing is, like, meditation like is a lot of things. Like, meditation is about training your mind, essentially. As far as I'm concerned, that's basically what it is. And training your mind can take a lot of forms. Essentially, all learning is one form of mind training or another, at least in my opinion. So that's kind of like how I came to have the various knowledge bases that I have, and um, came to doing this specific like set of things. Um, let's see. Why I throw some more stuff in here? Um, hmm. Will o' the Wisp, Pazaka. That's pretty cool. Progenitor, Janata, accuse, j'accuse. Be careful with accusations; they can be dangerous. That's why I have a whole thing about like reversing a spell there, because that includes slander. Slander is bad. Um, oh, you know what? I'll talk about So Dre McCarrick touched on this in his book, Century of Spells. The Loa, because I have a favorite pole back there. Dave pulls back here. Ashra pulls back here in case you don't know. So anyone who's seen Supernatural, Ashra is essentially the darkness. Like, as near as I can tell, she's like a Fey aspect, or like at a level of Piranha. Like, that's just like at one point I think it might actually have something to do with like the whole like circumcision thing, because like I don't know how much people know about like specifically some of the history of some of the messed up stuff that happened in the Bible, because some of it is just honestly historical accounts. If you like, even if you just like put aside the miracles and just say, okay, this wasn't necessarily acts of God of like a specific way of like God themselves did this, but like a disaster happened. And you can say like in terms of like insurance companies, disasters are considered acts of God. So like even by like modern standards, a disaster hitting a town is like an act of God. So like, Sodom and Gomorrah, if they were hit like by a major like just disaster, everyone could assume that was for one reason or another. It could have actually been for one reason or other, but it could have just been because they were hit by a disaster and like one particular set of people managed to get out in time, and they're the ones who told the story, and that's the reason that we know it. Like it's an interesting thing about like how how stories that like are kind of integral to how our like culture formed and how like they exist now can just sort of like evolve to affect how even like laws, like our current laws are formed. Because like I mean, look at the fact that Roe vs. Wade got pulled. I don't approve of that. Side note, here's the thing. Um, I've made a point that like I'm so far left that I think people should get like their guns registered, so like the government knows who has lethal things, like cars. Cars are actually lethal. Like, I don't know who's like, this is something that like I don't know who actually appreciates this, but like a car is a deadly weapon. Like, if you get into a street fight and you like kick someone with your shoes on, that's assault with a deadly weapon, because people can have like steel toe boots, and like they like they don't have to tell you that, but like they know that. And people will some people will just like have steel toe boots because they need them, and some people will have them because they're expecting to get into fights and be like, I want to kick someone's skull in. It's like, because you don't know that, but they do. And that's why, if you didn't know that before, now you know. By the way, if you see someone and they're like starting something and they going like this, like this, like this, but then they take their shoes off, that means they're ready to fight you and they want to make sure they don't get charged with assault with a deadly weapon because they're getting ready to kick you. I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking because, like, that's vaguely funny, but it's also not funny at the same time. Anyway, so, core concept of, like, why I was bringing this up is, like, um, a lot of, like, in ninjutsu, a lot of the nine fingers interlaced, the mudras they have, their hand signals, like, like, if you've ever watched Naruto, that's, like, a real thing. Like, I'm not gonna, like, specifically break down which of their, like, specific, like, mudra are, like, for. Actually, never even thought about it. Now I'm deeply disturbed and I want to go watch Naruto now and be like, how many of those are legit for exactly what they were doing? Because it might actually be all of them. Oh my good god. What the actual X? Okay, so real talk. This, for Shadow Clone, terrifyingly legit. I never actually thought about it till literally this moment, but, Araba, I, asa, what? The Hena da Bena, way de da wa. They are as what, I am flabbergasted. What the shiz was? What the actual chiz was? The biz was the ding dang the whack. Holy shing tang the wang dang. Ara wa. I think my patrons are literally making me, like, allowing me to just say silly things because I want to be able to swear, but I can't because I'm like. Alright, so, like, by this time you should know that, like, I know at least a little bit about ninjutsu. The fact that this is actually literally a shadow clone, I never thought about it till now. But it makes sense. It makes too much sense. I thought I understood Shadowmon, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Okay, like, I understand that shadow clones make sense. I understand that. Like, yeah, totally. Like, I never even thought about Naruto specific Mudra. Okay, I thought too much. I'm done. Not like with making videos, but for tonight, or at least this video. So, anyone who understands Shadowmon or understands ninjutsu, like, that's a double Retsu. That's a double Retsu. Of course. Of course. And of course it requires an astonishing amount of, like, specifically, like, all 7 chakra at once, because it's a friggin' shadow clone. Shadow clones require a ton of chakra, which is how it is. They require a ton of mana, like, however you define, like, energy, they just require a lot. It's just how it is to, like, literally make, because, like, that's the thing, they're, like, actual kind of sort of time clones. They're physicalized time clones. I'm not joking. Alright, anyway. So, anyone at some point down the line wants to tell me if they saw some, like, an actual copy of me behind me at some point, right after, right, like, in between me, like, doing the mudra and then laughing about it and then saying this now, please do, because that would be more hilarious than I'm prepared for. First there was a white horse, and then there was a red horse, and then there was a black horse, and then there was a pale horse, the color of a corpse, so green, the green of the grass of the wheat. And with them was a horse of the angel of death, for even in Arcadia as they under the offering, carpenter's bench, black sun, and 7-8. This is Oracle, because I'm the one who's talking to you. Dream safely.